Hello everyone, in this set of videos I would like to discuss what you should expect on the midterm exam. Okay, so this is the first problem. You can see two datasets here. So this is the first dataset. As you can see, this dataset is quite small. I used to use this dataset for the tutorial when we wrote midterm exam in class, so you could easily enter all those numbers to your calculator and do those calculations of the mean, the mode, the median, and the mid-range. Okay, and since we are going to use Excel on the midterm exam, the data set is going to be quite larger, so we don't have such limitation on the size. Okay, so let's do this simple calculations for this short data set, and then we'll do the same for this data set which is significantly larger. Okay, so let's calculate the median first. We're going to use median function. So let's calculate the mode. Here we can see that we don't have mode. Yeah, we do not have some element which is being repeated more than the others. So that's the definition of the mode. But let's do this calculation because that's what you want to do first before calculating the modes, especially if you have several modes in the data set. So first we need to understand how many modes do we have. So let's use the count function in order to do it. One mode. You can see 0. Yes, in this case we have no mode. Okay, so the mean. So we are going to use average function here. Okay, and here we are going to use the mid-range, so which is maximum plus minimum divided by 2. Okay, so as we can see, the mean is 64, the median is 30. The mean is quite far from the median. And we can see the reason like why the mean is so far from the median is that we have two obvious outliers. We have 198 and we also have 287. So those numbers, as we can see, they're significantly larger than all other numbers in this data set. And if we remove them, so if let's say we press delete and we remove them, we can see that the mean moved closer to the median. So they're almost equal. They're almost equal. Not exactly the same, but very close, very close. And the mean changed a lot. So it used to be 64, yeah, and it moved to 28.33. And the median was around 30 and it stayed around 30. Based on that, we can make the conclusion that the mean is affected by the outliers. And the median is not affected by the outliers. And since we have two significant outliers in this data set, we can conclude that the best measure of the center in this case, when we have those two numbers in the data set, is the median. So the median is much better measure of the center in this case, since the mean is affected by those two outliers. Okay, so now let's do the same for this data set, for the second data set. So which is going to be closer to what you should expect on the midterm exam. Okay, so let's see the mean. So let's use the average function here. The median. Okay, and then let's count number of modes. Count mode. Let's select this data set. Okay, so we have three modes. That means we need to use mode function in order to calculate our modes. And here the very usual the very usual error is just to write mult and just grab the data set and press enter. So very common mistake. So what it does, it just outputs one of those modes. One of those modes. Out of 3 modes, it just tells us that one of those modes is 17. But what are the other 2 modes? It doesn't tell us. Because this is not how you should use this function. Okay, so let's delete this. Okay, so we have 3 modes. So that means we are going to populate the array of numbers. The array of numbers. We will need to populate 3 numbers. I select 3 cells. So then I say equal to mode mult, this data set. And what I will press Control Shift Enter. Okay. And as you can see, we have all those three modes. Okay. As you can see, quite handy that we calculated number of the modes. So we knew how many cells we should select. Okay, so if let's say we don't know that, so let's assume we didn't calculate. But yeah, so we decided like to try, let's say, I don't know, like a decent amount of modes, and decided just to use the same function in the same way. Then we press Ctrl Shift Enter, and you can see it outputted like the 3 modes. It outputted 3 modes, but all other cells were populated with error. And we can't do anything. Like if I try to delete, you see, like I can't. So I can do it in maybe like in some barbarian way. Let's say just make it white. But yeah, so it's not what you want to do, obviously. Okay. Okay, so let's delete all that stuff. Okay, so mean and median without outliers. So let's see what do we have here. So let's go insert just the line plot. Yeah, and we can see a couple of outliers there. So let's maybe say this is with outliers. Okay, so we have 2 outliers, so somewhere around like 236 and 471. So which are the cells numbers. Okay, so let's maybe grab this data set and let's put it here. And yeah, let's quickly find those outliers. So it's 2. So let's see. Okay, this is the first one, obvious, 12,400. So let's remove it. And let's move further. And this is second one. Okay, let's remove it. Yeah, let's plot this data set again. So let's go insert, plot. So let's go again and plot just a line plot. Yeah, and that's what we have. So that's what we have. And here we don't have any outliers. So since it's quite kind of uniform band, because I used some random number generator, and those numbers they were populated more or less uniform without outliers. Okay, so let's see. So let's calculate the mean. Yeah, let's calculate the median. Okay, and again we can see that median and mean in this case, once we remove those 2 obvious outliers, so they moved closer to each other. Yeah, so they're almost the same again. 76.6, 6 and 77. Yeah, and we can see the median, it didn't change at all. It was 77 and it stayed 77. And the mean, it significantly changed. From 94, it changed to 76. So that's a significant change. And again, why? Because mean in this case was affected with these two outliers. Okay. Okay, so the moral of the story, the mean is not always the best measure of the center. Okay. Okay, so let's move to problem number 2.